WWE Evolution review. Okay, I'm very warm. Okay, I had to watch it whilst doing other things, so I might have missed a few things. It's only going to be a quick review anyway, so obviously we just don't keep you too bored. Usually I write down notes, but I try and remember everything off memory. Started off with Joe Tessitore announcing that Stephanie McMahon will be his co-host for the show. Alicia Taylor was your ring announcer, and Wade Barrett and Michael Cole were your commentators. So he's either watching Evolution or Evolution, depending obviously who he's listening to. So, the first match was for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Good triple threat match, what I expected it to be. Everyone hits the finishers, gets broken by someone else. Becky ends up winning and retaining her Intercontinental Championship. A good match. See, plain and simple. Like, I'm not going to do one of these channels today where I talk about absolutely everything. But maybe I will. Where do I see it going from here? Maybe just Becky versus Bayley on her own. Or maybe someone else can challenge for the actual title, whilst Lyra Valkyria and Bayley can have their own single feud. That's what I'm going for. Becky will feud with somebody else, whilst Bayley and Lyra have their own feud, maybe at SummerSlam. Then we go on to the women's NXT match. Jacy Jayne versus Jordynne Grace. Jacy Jayne had a fatal influence with her, whilst Jordynne Grace asked Blake Monroe to be in her corner, which turned out to be a bad idea because she turned her back on her. That helps. Blake Monroe turned her back on Jordynne Grace, hit her with the title, handed the title to Jacy Jayne. So now that must mean that we're going to get Jacy Jayne versus Masha Slamovich next week at Slammiversary, title versus title. Should be interesting. And I'm guessing we're now going to get Jordynne Grace versus Blake Monroe, maybe on an NXT program, or maybe something like Heatwave or the next PLE. Then we have the Fatal 4-Way match. I predicted that the Judgment Day were going to retain. A lot of people thought Charlotte and Flair were. Charlotte and Alexa were going to become your new tag team champions. But I just predicted that in some way, okay, Charlotte would save Alexa or Alexa would save Charlotte and then basically work together. And that happened when Zarya went for a spear, but she accidentally hit Sol Ruka, who basically is the workhorse of this weekend. Match on SmackDown, match at the Great American Bash, and a match here as well. And seeing her do the Soul Snatcher, fantastic. Also as well, obviously the Kabuki Warriors were in there. So we had the Kabuki Warriors versus Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus, obviously, the Judgment Day of Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez versus NXT Zarya and Sol Ruka. But in the end, though, the Judgment Day retained. Then I believe we had the women's WWE Championship match. Trish Stratus versus Tiffany Stratton. Okay, there wasn't a lot of hype here. It wasn't great. I've always enjoyed watching Trish Stratus. Okay, I grew up watching her. I think she's great. But the talking point of the match for me, though, okay, was Trish doing a moonsault. I didn't know she could do one. I mean, I've watched it before. I've completely missed it every single time. It's great. But obviously, Tiffany wins with her prettiest moonsault ever. Yeah. Trish doing a normal, Stratisfactions. Obviously, that weird handstand thing that she does. It's a Stratisfaction, like I just said, but like a close call. But in the end, though, Tiffany Stratton won. Trish did her usual, thank you, I'm leaving the ring now. Okay, did great. Then we had, these might be in the wrong order, but I'm going to try and name every single match so far. If I forget one, let me know. I'm not going to do anything about it, but still. We had Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Special guest referee Bianca Belair in a no-holds-barred match. Right. As soon as Jade walking down to the ring, Naomi comes out, tries to hit with the briefcase, doesn't work. What else was there? There's a few weapons involved, like what you expected, though. But it ended, though, with Jade doing the Jaded from the second rope through a table. That looked good. And obviously Bianca counted the actual call. Not loads to talk about, just what you expect. Like I said, I was doing other things and I was basically trying to watch whilst, doing other things. But yeah, nothing really went, oh, okay, cool. Besides the ending of the match, and that's good. I think Jade and Naomi both held their own. Now let's talk about the Women's Battle Royal match. I don't know what to say. No one really surprisingly returned. You already know about Nikki Bella. Had all basically the people from NXT that were said. My prediction wasn't even in there, so that was stupid. But in the end, though, it came down to Stephanie Vaquer, Lash Legend, and Nia Jax. Nia Jax was lifted over the ropes by Lash Legend because she's strong. Okay, Stephanie Vaquer was thrown into a weapon, and then she basically got knocked down at some point. But in the actual end, Stephanie Vaquer won because she decided to give the devil's kiss on the apron and just throw Lash Legend off after they both obviously went over the top rope. A post-match interview with Stephanie Vaquer, and yeah, basically going to Clash in Paris. But I'll give you a reason as to why I think it's at Clash in Paris near the end of this video. Now we're going to the main event. Rhea Ripley, who was never defeated at Io Sky, versus Io Sky, because Rhea Ripley has never defeated at Io Sky for the Women's World Championship, and Rhea Ripley has never defeated Io Sky. So the match started off, obviously, with the video package and coming down to the ring, and Rhea's never defeated Io Sky. They got introduced. Okay, back and forth match normally. Obviously, Io takes down Rhea, does a weird pointy thing that she does. Rhea returns the favour, does a pointy thing that Io does. Rhea's like, I respect you. Io says, I respect you too. And then they fight. Let's fight. Then the referee, Jessica Carr, I think her name is, gets knocked down. They decide to go and fight in the crowd. Io decides to just jump off something that they, I guess, just built like a crossbody onto Rhea, back into the ring. At one point, Rhea could have won, but obviously the referee wasn't there, so she got distracted. Tries to hit a riptide off the ropes, doesn't work. But in the end, though, the talking point is Naomi comes out and cashes in her Money in the Bank, turns it into a triple threat. Smacked with a briefcase. Okay, something else happened, but I forgot. I'm not going to lie to you, I just forgot. Okay, and Naomi is your Women's World Champion. Now, the thing is, you see, I didn't expect this. Rhea's still not beaten Io in a match before. Those two basically helped each other up. Well, Rhea helped Io up, obviously, a hug, and they walked out holding hands. Got attacked by CM Punk. As I was saying before I got attacked. Obviously, they walked out, but the talking point, though, Naomi winning the briefcase. A lot of people assumed, obviously, she was going to cash in on Jade. So it's nice to see a champion, well, sorry, a challenger from a different promotion, well, a different brand, I should say, SmackDown, going after the Raw World title. So where do I see this going now? My guess, okay, is we're going to have Naomi versus Rhea Ripley. I don't know where Io Sky's going. Maybe a triple threat, maybe not. Okay, but we're going to have Rhea Ripley win at SummerSlam so that she can go on to Clash in Paris against Stephanie Vaquer, and obviously then go on to Perth, obviously in Australia, if that's the order of the matches. But anyway, I enjoyed pretty much every single match. I wasn't blown off my feet. All In was so much better, but this was good enough. And my question to you is, if you're still watching this video, were the crowd noises basically added in? Because I heard everyone chanting, cheering, but I watched the entire crowd and no one was standing up. I think I seen one guy do a clap, and that was it. But that might just be me being wrong. Anyway, please like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching.